What's that? It's Squidward! What's he doing here? Here lie Squidward's hopes and dreams.
I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. I only got one thing to say about this oath now. They fucking hoed it into the ground. Alright, now before I start talking about anything that I see wrong with this oath right now, I'm just gonna put this out here. I'm not saying the oath before they nerfed it was okay. I made a video previously, I addressed why it's a bullshit oath. But here's the problem. Yes, it was an annoying oath, it was frustrating to fight, nobody liked fighting it, okay? I totally get that. But they over-nerfed it, and now it's just fucking useless. Like, if I wanted to go play Fade Trimmer, I'd go pick Fade Trimmer, okay? But Visionshaper had such a cool premise, and I'm gonna go into what they did wrong with it, with these updates. Now, typically, I don't like to talk about the same oath twice, but they've done so much of a big change to this oath that it didn't feel right to not come back to it. Now, traditionally, the old identity with Visionshapers, as much as everybody hated them, it was in your traditional domain expansion, magey kind of builds like the one that you're seeing on screen. It was all about the clones. I would say counter was rarely used. Some people used it, but most people just spammed servants, and rarely, if at all, did you see Realm played in any scenario. Something in my last video that I talked about is that I felt Realm was kind of boring and weak. Now, they did do a Realm rework, I can't speak that word, which we're going to talk about in the later part of the video, but the old identity that Visionshaper had, while it was annoying, it was consistent. With the changes that they've done, such as reducing clones, hits that they can take, as well as the range that you have to actually pop them is a lot closer now, and they immediately spawn. All these changes add up to something that essentially means your clones, for the most part, they're not going to do a whole lot anymore, especially against competent players. Against a total idiot, sure, maybe, but against your actually competent players that you do come across on the average level of Chime or in the overworld even, they're just a waste of a mantra slot. And we'll go over the Illusionary realm later, but it's not very great either, and I'll explain my thoughts on why. To give a very quick rundown though, so old Visionshaper, you had clones, which were spammy, annoying, people hated them because they didn't really die unless you hit the opponent. People always played defensively when their clones were out. Counter, essentially the same thing, except now you're countering an opponent's move and giving them a clone as well. You had Realm, which was very boring, basically a stall tool, not really anything the Visionshaper can use other than defense. Things like Mirage from the Mist or whatever it's called, the thing that spawns a monster. And now with new Visionshaper, that's gone. And I'll explain why. So, old Illusionary realm, stall tool. New Illusionary realm, it's this crazy vision fucky shit. I'm gonna put something on the screen. I hate this shit. I think it's dumb. But let's go into now new realm and explain a bit why it's not what it should be. Okay, let's talk about a big thing real quick that doesn't really apply to Visionshaper, but just Deepwoken as a whole. And that's visual clarity in games. So in a parry-based game like Deepwoken, if you want to effectively react to your opponent's attacks, you must be able to see what attacks they're doing. Certain things in this game suffer from having so many particles or too many things that it becomes difficult for the average player or any player to react to such things normally. A couple examples. The fucking flame talent that lights you on fire. Your glowing bright particles, not saying it's impossible, but it's just a lot harder to deal with. Certain moves such as Flaming Scourge, Radiant Kick into a Flaming Scourge. You're already blinded by these bright white particles that you're going to have a hard time seeing things anyways. You have the Shadow talent that makes it to where more things that hit you, and if you get block broken by a Shadow Launcher, you can't see well. So what I'm trying to get at is, in a game where it's all about parries and seeing what your opponent's doing, it's not very fun when you can't see well. And that's what New Realm does. It makes seeing, quite frankly, a pain in the ass. If I wanted to, try an escape room with Realm, I'll just go to an actual escape room. I don't need to be subjected to potential, epilepsy seizure warnings on my own fucking computer. So with that in mind, I'm just going to show you some builds and things that I want to see just in the comment section, if you guys will. Could you deal with this consistently against a quote-unquote meta build? I'll give an example. You'll see. While I'm sure that everybody would have had fun fighting those lovely things on your screen that you can't even see, I didn't get a clue, but picture if they were in all black. How fun would that be to see? Just something that's grayed purple, and then you can't even see any of the moves they're using because it blends in with the rest of your screen. I may be exaggerating, but it's still not fun regardless. So we're going to move on from this, and I want to explain what I think Visionshaper should be, and not this watered down, nerfed, shitty version that it is right now. Alright, to me, Visionshaper should be all about illusions. Clones are not an illusion. Yes, they're an illusionary clone, but it's just an NPC running at you. So what if we made things a bit more interesting, right? What if instead of illusionary servants, we get, I don't know what you want to call it, we'll call it the fake out move. Essentially what happens is, and you can get different sparks for this, your character goes invisible temporarily, a clone spawns, and it tries to do a move near the opponent, whatever mantra that your character has equipped in their hotbar, right? If the player that's fighting you hits the clone, there's a punishment for them, whatever it may be. Maybe you get a free hit or something like that. But if you ignore the clone, what'll end up happening is nothing will happen. It'll just disappear right before it actually hits you or does anything. So the idea is it's used to, instead of just annoy people with an NPC constantly wailing on you, you're trying to bait out parries and different things, especially if you're panicking because, oh, there's two dudes running at me, they're both about to use the same move or something like that. You can easily mess with people's minds like that. And I think that's way more interesting than just a clone running at you. Illusionary counter could also work in this same vein. So instead of putting a clone onto the field that just rushes down your opponent and is now borderline useless, have counter put your opponent into an illusion, messing with their GUI and making it seem like maybe they do have the upper hand when it turns out they don't. So what you could do is you could obscure their HP bar so they don't know exactly how much HP they have temporarily. You could also obscure their tempo bar, their posture bar. These things you can mess with them so they truly don't know, where they're at. Maybe they're getting comboed after they got countered. They go, oh, why can't I vent? Or, I don't have enough tempo, where it turns out they actually did have enough tempo the whole time. But because their GUI was temporarily obscured, they didn't know that. So they're essentially being messed with in not necessarily a detrimental way, but you can still mess with your opponent and actually gain an upper hand by playing literal mind games with them, especially with the fake out move before it. Now, Realm, for the most part, Realm is fine. There's just still a couple changes that I would want to make. So for Realm, make Realm not have a visual to those caught in it if you were caught in the initial cast of it.
All right. Let's end this!
So like if a person expands their domain, you don't know that you're in it yet until maybe you land enough hits on the opponent or something. And then the user within the realm has various buffs, their illusion is being more potent, and the player's perception feels warped in the sense of the GUI being warped, not their screen going like dark black or dark purple. Because then it truly is an illusion. You don't know that you're in this illusionary realm yet. You think you're still fighting the good fight, and it turns out, maybe you lost like 20% of your health while you were duking it out in there. So, the realm could also show that, you're not taking any damage right now? But then when the realm ends, it's kind of like posers, right? It turns out you just took like 30% because you weren't paying attention. You thought you were fine, but you're actually not. And I think that's one of the big draws that it could have. The last really big thing I wish I could do about Realm as well, let people get knocked in there and get gripped. Like, the thing that annoys me about Realm these days, it is just a glorified stall tool. Give it a bit more of a purpose than just stalling out for friends or stalling out for enemies, whatever it may be. Just give it something more, I beg. Overall, I really do feel like Visionshaper has the potential to be a really fun oath instead of just the clone spam that everybody has come to know and hate. The idea of messing with your opponent's mind through their GUI instead of just purely removing all visual clarity is a really interesting one to me, and I want to see them do more with it, but right now, the oath's just shit. And like, I get reworks take time, I understand that. But do something about it right now, because it sucks. Nobody wants to use it. It's not fun. Anyways, if you guys like this kind of content, I am happy to do more and talk about other oaths that I feel are either a problem or fun, whichever. But please subscribe, like, share, all that fun stuff. I want to reach 5K very soon, so I'll see you guys later.